Welcome to OET Writing Live presented by Tiju Academy. So let's just wait for a couple of minutes so that our viewers can join with us. Yes, good evening everyone. Oh, hey Olivia, good evening, welcome. Nisha, Anil, good afternoon to you. Yes, very good evening everyone. Welcome to yet another live session from Tiju Academy, and this is Ishwarya here. Hi Deepakari and good evening. All right. So as you people can see, I have titled today's live session as Rehabilitation Centre Lake Engane Letter Edam. So if our reader is from a rehabilitation center, how we can organize the letter or what all data can be considered as relevant data എന്ന് പറയുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ആയിരിക്കും നമ്മുടെ ഇന്നത്തെ ഒരു topic of discussion എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Okay, so are you guys ready? Shall we start? Yes, so rehabilitation center like engane letter edam. So in this particular letter or the letter that I have chosen for you people is to write to a rehabilitation center. So what all things should be the purpose? What will be the purpose? What will be the medical condition? What will be the relevant data when it comes to writing a letter to a rehabilitation center? Which means the reader is from a rehabilitation center. That will be the main focus of our area, main focus of our discussion. The main focus nu parayunnathu ee oru karyamaayirikkum. Yes, since you people are ready, let's just begin our today's live session. As I mentioned earlier, this is a writing live, OET writing live presented by Tiju Academy, and this is Aishwarya. Okay. All right. Hi, Raman. Good afternoon. Okay. Neetu, Ganesh. Good evening. Good afternoon to Raman. Good evening, Neetu. Welcome to the live session presented by Teachers Academy. All right. Hey, yes, Aaron. Good evening. Rakhi, Kiran. Hi. Welcome. Okay, so let's just discuss our today's letter. So the name, as per the letter, the name of the patient is Jenny Jerome. So patient in the pere Jenny Jerome. Age 22 years. Marital status single. Admission 6 April 2019. Discharged to June 14, 2019. So hi Cynthia, welcome to the session. Okay, so as per this case note, the name of the patient is Jenny Jerome, and a patient is 22 years old. Marital status is single. Admitted 6th April 2019 and discharged on June 14. So which means the patient was almost there in the hospital for 2 months. 2 മാസത്തോളം patient എവിടെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു? ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിൽ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. Now let's go to the discharge plan or the writing task of this particular letter. So write a letter to Sharon Joe, sister in charge, Myton Rehabilitation Center, 786 Myton, Warwick, CV. The pin, everything is mentioned here. Using the information in the case note to outline relevant information and request follow-up care. So the purpose, what this rehabilitation center nurse has to do is here provide as follow-up care for the patient. So which means the patient got admitted on 6th April 2019 and was discharged in the month of June. So the patient was there in the hospital for 2 months. So after discharging from the hospital, the patient is being transferred to the Myton Rehabilitation Center. So this sister in charge has to provide follow-up care for the patient. Patientine endana kodukkendathu? Follow-up care aanu kodukkendathu എന്ന് നമ്മൾ ഫസ്റ്റ് പർപ്പസ് വേർഡ് കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചു. ആൻഡ് ഫോർ ദ സെക്കൻഡ് പർപ്പസ് വേർഡ് വി നീഡ് ടു റെഫർ ദി ഡിസ്ചാർജ് പ്ലാൻ. So what we have to do is we have to refer the discharge plan for the second purpose word. So the discharge plan says depression needs to be treated with activities and interests. So this rehabilitation center nurse has to deal with the patient needs by engaging him in activities and interests. So what all things that he or he is interested, the rehabilitation nurse or the nurse in charge in the rehabilitation center has to engage the patient to get rid of depression. That is the first thing. Then contact university for possible continuation of studies externally. So this nurse has to contact the university in which the student has studied for the continuation of his studies, because he was there in the hospital for 2 months. So now he need to continue his study. So the nurse in charge has to do the arrangements for that. Need contacts with people of his own age group for community access. So we need to make him in contact with people of his own age group in order to provide him the community access, because he was there in the hospital for almost 2 months, which is more than 2 months, which means he will be definitely isolated. He might have lost the connection with the surroundings. So that's why we need to make him in contact with the people of his own age in order to get community access. So arrange a hospital university that contact the community, contact the people of his own age group. So this nurse has to contact all these people. So first of all, the nurse has to provide follow-up care, and by contacting and arranging a meeting up with everyone is considered as an assistance from the nurse side. So നഴ്സിൻ്റെ സൈഡിൽ നിന്ന് ഇത് എന്തായിട്ട് എടുക്കാം, നമ്മൾക്ക് അസിസ്റ്റൻസ് ആയിട്ട് എടുക്കാവുന്നതാണ്. സോ ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് പർപ്പസ് വേർഡ് ഇസ് ഫോളോ അപ്പ് കെയർ ആൻഡ് ദ സെക്കൻഡ് പർപ്പസ് വേർഡ് ഇസ് അസിസ്റ്റൻസ്. സോ ഈസ് ഇറ്റ് ക്ലിയർ സോ ഫാർ? ഹായ് അഞ്ജു എബ്രഹാം, ബിന്ദു തോമസ്, ദീപ, ജിനു, ഷൈമ, കെലി, good evening everyone. Is it clear so far? Yes. All right. Yeah. Now let's move on to the main part of the letter. So as per the letter, we already understood the name of the patient, the age, marital status, admission and discharge date, and what will be the diagnosis. So the diagnosis says broken neck and fractured pelvis following car accident. So the patient met with a car accident and his neck, broken neck and fractured pelvis. So he has broken neck and fractured pelvis and probable permanent neurological damage affecting mobility, speech and memory areas. So along with the fracture, the patient has a probable permanent neurological damage affecting his mobility, speech and memory areas. So these two are his diagnosis. He has fracture as well as probable, which means not a confirmed case but a suspected permanent neurological damage affecting mobility, speech and memory areas. So these two are his diagnosis. And now let's check out the social background of the patient. When it comes to the social background of the patient, he is a third year architectural student in Aldane University. So what he does is a third year architectural student. All right. And was living in share flat, now needs long-term rehabilitation. Earlier the patient was living in a shared flat, now he needs long-term rehabilitation. Share flat means he was sharing his flat with someone else. So right now he need long-term rehabilitation, and the parents willing to care for him may eventually return home. So his parents are willing to care for him and may eventually return home. So eventually, as his parents are willing to take care of him, they will be eventually returning home. Yes, Nobi, Shivjin, Jamal, good evening. Nishna, Shemet, good evening and welcome. And interest, hockey, cycling and photography. So the interested activities of the patient are hockey, cycling and photography, and currently eligible for disability pension. So currently the patient is eligible for, or he is capable of getting disability pension. So third year architectural student in the Aldane University was living in a shared flat, now leads long-term rehabilitation. Parents willing to care for him may eventually return home. Interest hockey, cycling and photography. Currently eligible for disability pension. That is social background of the patient. Now moving on to the nursing management. So he was there in the hospital for almost 2 months and he will require ongoing high level care. So the patient required ongoing high level care. Recently started using wheelchair. He started using wheelchair very recently. Daily physiotherapy, hydrotherapy twice a week and speech therapy thrice a week. So physiotherapy daily കൊടുക്കണം, hydrotherapy എന്ത് ചെയ്യണം, twice a week കൊടുക്കണം, speech therapy thrice a week കൊടുക്കണം. Bed sores but improving with increased mobility. So as he has started to mobilize, his bed sores are improving and he has frequent headache and the medicine was also there, maximum a day. So per day he is supposed to take Nurofen 200 mg, that's the maximum rate. So this is about the nursing management of the patient. Will require ongoing high level care. Recently started using wheelchair. Physiotherapy, speech and hydrotherapy was provided. Bed sores was there, but as he started mobilizing, it is improving and he has frequent headache which require medication and for which he takes medication. That is about the nursing management and progress. Now let's see the discharge plan. So as he was having all this situation, the rehabilitation nurse in charge has to arrange these things for the patient. Okay, so this is about the case note of this particular letter. So shall we start correcting the letter or shall we start constructing the letter? Is it clear for you people? This seems to be a very small letter, but it's very important to identify the relevant data accordingly. Yes. Shall we start constructing the letter? All right. So as we mentioned, we will always start, as we mentioned in our previous episodes and on all our live classes, we always start our letter by mentioning the letter head date. So we'll start our letter, we'll begin the letter with mentioning letter head date. That is discharge June 14, 2019. This should be goes in the letterhead because admission is there, discharge is there, no today's date is provided, which means we have to go with discharge date. So 14 June 2019 is the discharge date that has to be there at the letter top. Now we need to go for the writer's address. So what's the writer's address says? Sharon Joe, sister in charge, Myton Rehabilitation Centre, 786 Myton Lawn, Warwick, and the pin code is also provided. Exactly. So you people can start constructing the reader's address. So let me know how you're going to write the reader's address. Sharon Joe, and the next line sister in charge, next line Myton Rehabilitation Centre, 786 line Warwick, CV5678 DF. So this is how we are supposed to write the address of the reader. Now we have to go for the salutation of a letter. Now we have to go for the salutation of the letter. So what will be the salutation according to the name of the reader? Dear Miss Joe. Dear Miss Joe should be the salutation of the letter. Okay. So we mentioned about the date, then the reader's address, and we are talking about the salutation in a letter. Now we have to go with the reference line. So here is the data about the patient. So you people can construct the reference line all by yourself and let me know through the comment box. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് തന്നെ ഇതിൻ്റെ reference line construct ചെയ്യാം, എന്നിട്ട് എന്നെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക, comment boxൽ കൂടെ അറിയിക്കാം. Okay, hi Lipson Jacob, good evening and welcome. So reference line says RE, capital letter R, small letter E, colon. Colon is the colon is the dot to dot mark, parallel dot marks are there. And Jenny Jerome is our patient. Age is there. No DOB is there. So how we have to write? We have to go with the age of the patient. നമ്മൾ എന്താ ചെയ്യണം? പേഷ്യൻറ്റിൻ്റെ ഏജ് ചൂസ് ചെയ്യാവുന്നതാണ്. And let me name of the patient, comma, aged, RA colon, name of the patient, then aged 22 years. This is how we are supposed to construct the reference line. Is it clear so far? So we dealt with the date, then the reader's address, salutation, and the reference line. Yes, very good, Olivia. Olivia, there's a small mistake over there. RE colon Mr. Jenny Jerome, comma. If you are putting comma, this is how we are supposed to write. Aged 22 years. Age, no colon, aged 22 years. And Deepa, you have to add a small comma in front of the word aged. You have to write a small comma in front of the word aged. Okay? Alright, so this is about the introduction of the letter. The reference line of the letter. Yes, Raki, that is correct. Now we can start with the introduction of the letter. So this is completely a plain referral letter, right? This is not a non-case. The patient is getting discharged and moving to a rehabilitation center. So here, if you want to, we can consider it as a transfer letter as well, because the patient is his care or his condition has not been resolved so far. He needs further treatment, but from hospital he is moving to another facility. So from one facility to another facility, that's why it can be considered, if you want to, as a transfer letter as well. I can either write I'm writing to transfer or I'm writing to introduce. This is how we can construct the sentence. So I am writing to introduce Miss Jenny Jerome. Miss Jenny Jerome. Okay, now if we want, we can make it as a clear. So Mr. can be taken as the title over here. So here, this is the key point. See, this is a special letter where they haven't mentioned the title of the patient, Jenny Jerome, but still we have to identify from the case note the gender of the patient. So look at the social background and the third sentence. Parents willing to care for him. Parent is willing to care for him. Him means the gender of the patient is male. So patient in the gender endana male aanu. And since he is 22 years old, we can write it as Mr. Jenny Jerome. I hope it is clear. So the introduction will be, I'm writing to introduce or transfer Mr. Jenny Jerome, who requires, what are our purpose words? Follow-up care and assistance. That's the first line of the introduction. Now we have to go for the condition of the patient. So this is my question to you people. So the diagnosis here mentioned are broken neck and fractured pelvis and probable permanent neurological damage. This is number 1. This is number 2. This is the second point. So could you guys tell me, or could you please tell me, among the 1 and 2 option, what you people will write in the introduction of a letter? Olivia, there is no need of adding comma in front of who there. So you people have to tell me, among the 2 option 1 and 2, which one should be written in the introduction of the letter. 1 and 2. There are 2 points in the diagnosis, so you have to tell me which one we have to write in the introduction of a letter. Yes. So probable neck and fractured pelvis following accident, probable permanent neurological damage affecting mobility, speech and memory areas. Second one, exactly, very good. Because we are writing to a rehabilitation center. So, rehabilitation center won't be a direct management center for fracture. ഫ്രാക്ചറിനുള്ള ഒരു ഡയറക്റ്റ് മാനേജ്മെൻറ്റ് സെൻറ്റർ അല്ല in the rehabilitation center. On the other hand, you have to go with the probable permanent neurological damage affecting mobility, speech, and memory areas. So, the probable permanent neurological damage affecting mobility, speech, and memory areas should be the condition that has to be there in the introduction. So, broken neck and fractured pelvis alla നമ്മൾ rehabilitation സെൻറ്ററിൽ പോകുന്നത് in order to get a probable permanent neurological damage affecting mobility, speech, and memory areas. So the second point has to be there in the introduction. So the introduction will be, I am writing to introduce a trans for Mr. Jenny Jerome who requires follow-up care and assistance. She has probable permanent neurological damage. She has probable permanent neurological damage affecting mobility, speech, and memory areas. Affecting mobility, speech, and memory areas. So this should be there in the introduction. Now we have to start with the body paragraph. So is it clear so far? Introduction clear ആണോ എല്ലാവർക്കും? Okay, thank you so much, guys. So let's start with the social background. Social background says he is a third year architectural studies student who was living in a shared flat, now requires long-term rehabilitation. So first line of the body paragraph should be, Mr. Jerome is a third year architectural student who lives in shared flat but needs long-term rehabilitation. Okay? And his parents are willing to care for him and may eventually return home. And his interested activities are hockey, cycling, photography. And currently he is eligible for disability pension. സോ ഈ പറയുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾ വൺ ബൈ വൺ ആയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക, ക്രോസ് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്ത് ഗ്രമാറ്റിക്കൽ എറർ ഫ്രീ ആയിട്ട് എഴുതുക. അതായത് മിസ്റ്റർ ജെറോം ഈസ് കറൻ്റ്ലി ഹീസ് എ തേർഡ് ഇയർ സ്റ്റുഡൻറ്റ്. സോ മിസ്റ്റർ ജെറോം ഇസ് എ തേർഡ് ഇയർ ആർക്കിടെക്ചറൽ സ്റ്റുഡൻറ്റ് who was living in a, right now he is not living, he is moving to the rehabilitation center. So earlier who was living in a shared flat now needs long term rehabilitation. And the main point over there is his parents are willing to care for him. His interested activities are 1, 2, 3 hockey, cycling, and photography, and currently he is eligible for disability pension. So these are the 5 areas that we can include in the social background of this particular letter, that which should be the first body paragraph. So eligible for disability pension എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് കൊണ്ട് കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല, that can also be taken as a relevant information. Okay, now we'll move on to the nursing management. So as per hospitalization and progress, he will require ongoing high level care. So he requires ongoing high level care. Recently started using wheelchair. And he has daily physiotherapy, hydrotherapy twice a week, and speech therapy thrice a week. His bed sores, when it comes to the bed sores, that's improving with increased mobility. As he started increasing or has started mobilizing, his bed sores are getting better. And he has occasional headache, for which Nurofen 200 mg maximum day has been maximum a day was being prescribed. So is it clear so far? So patient എന്താണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു, തേർഡ് ആർക്കിടെക്ചറൽ സ്റ്റുഡൻ്റ് ആണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു, ഷെയർഡ് ഫ്ലാറ്റിലാണ് ജീവിച്ചിരുന്നത്, ഇപ്പോൾ റീഹാബിലിറ്റേഷനിലാണ്, ആൻഡ് ഹിസ് പാരൻസ് ആർ റെഡി ടു ടേക്ക് കെയർ ഓഫ് ഹിം ആൻഡ് they are coming to him. His interested activities are mentioned. Currently he is eligible for disability pension. That is also mentioned there. Now the nursing management means when they are in the hospital, the patient required high level care. He started his hotel, that is wheelchair, which is daily physiotherapy, hydrotherapy twice a week, speech therapy thrice a week. All these things were provided for the patient. His bed sores are also improving with increased mobility. His frequent headache was managed with Nurofen, 200 mg maximum a day. This is about the nursing management of the patient. Therefore, it would be appreciated. So നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞു ഈ ഒരു ലെറ്ററിനകത്ത് ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ്റെ കാര്യം നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞു. ഫോളോ അപ്പ് കെയർ ആൻഡ് അസിസ്റ്റൻസ് ആണ് ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. ആൻഡ് 2 ഡയഗ്നോസിസ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഫ്രാക്ചറും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, പെർമനൻറ്റ് ന്യൂറോളജിക്കൽ ഡാമേജും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. സോ ദ വൺ ദാറ്റ് വി ചോസ് ഫോർ ദിസ് പെർട്ടിക്കുലർ ലെറ്റർ ആസ് അവർ reader is a rehabilitation center nurse. What we have to do is we have to write the main area or we have to write the condition of the patient which is applicable for the reader. So broken neck and fractured pelvis following a car accident. He has probable permanent neurological damage affecting mobility, speech and memory areas. So the thing that he has to taken in the introduction is probable permanent neurological damage, not the fracture. So why we are supposed to take probable permanent neurological fracture, not the permanent neurological damage, not the fracture എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, see, we are sending to a rehabilitation center not for the management of the fracture but to regain the mobility. Rehabilitation center will work on the rehabilitating factors, so which include physiotherapy and all those things that are for probable permanent neurological damage. So how we have to write the first sentence? That is, I am writing to introduce Mr. Jenny Jerome who requires follow-up care and assistance. The patient is male, so we have to write he has probable permanent neurological damage affecting mobility, speech and memory areas. This should be there in the second line of the introduction. All right. Now we have to start with the body paragraph as we discussed earlier. So the body paragraph, since he is living in a shared flat, no one is there to take care of him and he required long-term rehabilitation and the parents are coming to take care of him, and currently he is eligible for disability pension. All these things have connection with his present condition. And the most important part, his interested activity, hockey, cycling and photography, how they are supposed to treated his depression by using his own activities and interest. So what are his own activities of interest? Hockey, cycling and photography. Even though he is not in a position where he can do all these things all by himself, but still we have to make him interested somehow in this activity. So the reader has to know what is his interested activity. So reader എന്തറിയണം, ഇയാളുടെ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റഡ് ആക്ടിവിറ്റി ഒക്കെ ഏതൊക്കെയാണെന്ന് അറിഞ്ഞിരിക്കണം. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ we can start this letter by mentioning the social history. Social history എന്ത് പറയാം? Mr. Jerome is a third year architectural student who was living in a shared flat. His parents are willing to care for him and may eventually return home. Currently, his interested activities are hockey, cycling, photography. Currently, he is long-term rehabilitation and eligible for disability pension. That should be the social paragraph. Now, moving on to the nursing management. Nursing management happened when he was in the hospital. So the things that happened during the hospitalization can be written as during hospitalization. So how we have to write? During hospitalization, put a comma. He required ongoing high-level care. Nursing management is something that has already been completed. So everything has to be written in past tense. So during hospitalization, he required ongoing high-level care. Recently, he started using wheelchair. He was provided with daily physiotherapy, hydrotherapy twice a week, and speech therapy thrice a week. Thrice a week, twice a week, once a week. So we can use, if you want to, you can write it in a rhyming manner as well. Daily ne engane parayam? Once a week. Rendannam engane parayam? Twice a week. Moonannam engane parayam? Thrice a week. So during hospitalization, he required ongoing high-level care. Recently, he started using wheelchair and was provided with daily physiotherapy, hydrotherapy twice a week, and speech therapy thrice a week. And if the rehabilitation nurse needs to know that he has frequent headache. So his frequent headache was managed with Nurofen. All right. And this is the positive part. So this is the positive part which can be written at the end of the second body paragraph, that his bed sores but improving with the increased mobility. So how we can write, his bed sores are improving with increased mobility. അയാളുടെ ബെഡ് സോഴ്സ് എന്താണ്, ഇൻക്രീസ്ഡ് മൊബിലിറ്റി ഉള്ളത് കൊണ്ട് അത് ഇംപ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. സോ ഹിസ് ബെഡ് സോഴ്സ് ആർ ഇംപ്രൂവിങ് വിത്ത് ഇൻക്രീസ്ഡ് മൊബിലിറ്റി. ദിസ് ഇസ് ഹൗ വി ക്യാൻ റൈറ്റ് ദി present condition. Therefore, it would be appreciated if you could provide follow-up care and assistance. So what are the synonyms for follow-up care? Since we are writing a letter to a rehabilitation center, we can write it would be appreciated if you could provide a rehabilitative care and support, because support is a synonym for assistance, and our reader is a nurse, and the reader ongoing care can be written as the synonym for follow-up care added, but since the reader is a nurse and the nurse is working in a rehabilitation center also, if you want to, we can write it as rehabilitation center, because basically we are sending the patient for rehabilitation. So what they are providing, what they are following up there is rehabilitative care basically. So introductional follow-up care assistance medidam, because that is mentioned in the writing task. But if you want to, you can write rehabilitative care in the discharge plan, and the synonym for assistance is support. So it would be appreciated if you could provide rehabilitative care and support for Mr. Jerome. Is it clear? This is how we can construct the very first line of the discharge plan. Now let's deal with the plans in the discharge plan. First one, depression needs to be treated with activities and interest. So how we can write, please note, his depression needs to be treated with activities and interest. Please note, his depression needs to be treated with activities and interests. Then exactly, and then please contact his university. Please contact the university for possible continuation of his studies externally. So please contact the university for possible continuation of his studies externally. And he requires contact with people of his own age group for community access. കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി ആക്സസിന് വേണ്ടി അയാൾക്ക് എന്ത് വേണം, അയാളുടെ അതേ ഏജ് ഗ്രൂപ്പിലെ ആൾക്കാർക്ക് ആക്സസ് വേണം. I hope it is clear. Permanent treatment venda, so I will write one. Yes, permanent Jinsey, you will write one. See, one എഴുതിയാലുള്ള പ്രശ്നം neck and fractured pelvis ആണ് following car accident. So fracture will be rectified in the hospital itself. Now after 2 months of hospitalization, they are sending the patient to a rehabilitation. So അത് ഫ്രാക്ചറിന് തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കുമോ? That should be for the permanent neurological damage, right? So second should be there in the one should be there in the introduction. I hope it is clear, Jinsey John. So ഇങ്ങനെയാണ് ഈ ഒരു ലെറ്റർ നമുക്ക് എഴുതാൻ പറ്റുന്നത്. So since he doesn't require special dietary requirement, we can strike off this data. No special dietary requirement, so we don't need to write that data. I hope it is clear. So the letter will be, I am writing to introduce Mr. Jenny Jerome, who requires follow-up care and assistance. He has probable permanent neurological damage affecting mobility, speech and memory areas. Then the social background would be, Mr. Jerome is a third year architectural student who was living in a shared flat. Now his parents are willing to take care of him and may eventually return home. His interested activities are hockey, cycling and photography. Currently, he is eligible for disability pension and requires long-term rehabilitation. So long-term rehabilitation അയാൾക്ക് വേണമെന്ന് പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. സോ അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ റീഹാബിലിറ്റേറ്റീവ് കെയർ ആണ് നമ്മൾ റീഹാബിലിറ്റേഷൻ സെൻറ്ററിൽ കൊടുക്കുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, ആൻഡ് ദ നഴ്സിംഗ് മാനേജ്മെൻറ്റ്. സോ നഴ്സിംഗ് മാനേജ്മെൻറ്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പ്രസൻറ്റ് കണ്ടീഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നമുക്ക് കുറച്ചും കൂടി ഒന്ന് സെറ്റാക്കിയാൽ എന്ത് പറയാം, ഒരു അഡ്മിഷൻ ഡേറ്റ് പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. സോ നമുക്ക് എന്ത് പറയാം? പ്രസൻറ്റ് കണ്ടീഷൻ. ഓൺ 6 April 2019, മിസ്റ്റർ ജെറോം വാസ് അഡ്മിറ്റഡ് ഫോളോയിങ് എ കാർ ആക്സിഡൻറ്റ്. On 6 April 2019, Mr. Jerome was admitted with broken neck and fractured pelvis following car accident. കാർ ആക്സിഡൻറ്റിനെ തുടർന്ന് ഇയാൾ ഇന്ന ദിവസം അഡ്മിറ്റഡ് ആയി. എന്നിട്ട് നമുക്ക് എന്ത് പറയാം? കറൻ്റ്ലി during hospitalization he required ongoing high level care and started using wheelchair. He was provided with physiotherapy once a week, hydrotherapy twice a week, speech therapy thrice a week. His frequent headaches was managed with Nurofen 200 mg. His bed sores are improving with increased mobility. Therefore, it would be appreciated if we could provide rehabilitative care and support for Mr. Jerome. Please note, his depression needs to be treated with activities and interest. Kindly contact the university for the possible continuation of his studies externally and contact people of his own age group for community access. So since both these part are mentioning about the contact, we can write those sentences together. That's all about the discharge plan. Then you can simply wind up the letter by mentioning, please contact me for further information. Yours sincerely, since the name of the reader is provided and nothing has provided about our designation, so you can go for plainly nurse. I hope it is clear. So your letter എല്ലാവർക്കും ക്ലിയർ ആയി എന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. So we will be that's all for today. So try to write a letter. You can get the screenshot of this particular letter by watching the video and try to write it all by yourself to improve your OET writing. Okay? So we will be meeting very soon. So thank you so much for being here with me and for your constant support through your messages. So we'll be meeting very soon with yet another live episode. So thank you so much, everyone.